Hey guys, today we are going to be looking at two different strategies for multiplying mixed numbers by a fraction. And the first way that we're going to look at is by using an area model. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to write area model. And we've used area model since elementary school, and all that it means is that we are breaking up our two factors. So I look at the first factor and I have 1 3/4. And my second factor is 1/2. So when I'm looking at this area model, I've actually got two different spaces on the inside. I've got this first space, which is half of 1, or 1/2 times 1. And I know that that just gives me 1/2. The second box is going to be 1/2 times 3/4. And I know that since that's a fraction times a fraction, I'll just multiply straight across and get 3/8. So I have two partial products right here that I need to add together to find my total product. I have 1/2 plus 3/8. And I remember from earlier in intervention when we talked about adding fractions with uncommon denominators. So I need to rewrite these fractions using the same denominator. And since 1/2 is really friendly, I can rewrite that as 4/8. So I'm adding 4/8 plus 3/8 to get a total of 7/8. So 1 3/4 times 1/2 is 7/8. Another way that we could do this is turning my mixed number into an improper fraction. So if I go from mixed number to improper, I'm going to look at 1 3/4. So 1 3/4 really is saying I have 4/4 because that's a whole with an extra 3/4, which gives me 7/4. So 1 3/4 is equivalent to 7/4. So I can rewrite this multiplication problem as 7/4 times 1/2. And again, fraction times a fraction, I'm just multiplying straight across. So my numerator times my numerator gives me 7. And my denominator times my denominator gives me 8. So here I go with the same answer. All right, let's take a look at one more. So now I have 2.5 times 1/4. And again, we're going to use our area model. And then we'll look at going improper. So for our area model, I'm going to draw the area mat. And my first factor is 2.5. So I have two wholes, and then I have my half. My second factor is just 1/4. So again, this is going to break into two parts. The first part being 1/4 times 2, which is just 2/4. And the second part being 1/4 times 1/2, which is just 1/8. So now I have all of my partial products, so 2/4 plus 1/8, and I need to add them together to get my total product. Again, I need to rewrite these using common denominators. So I see I have 4 and 8, so my common denominator will be 8. And 2 out of 4 is the same as 4 out of 8. So I'm going to sum 4/8 with 1/8 to get my total product of 5/8. So 2.5 times 1/4 gives me 5/8. Now, my second strategy that we can look at, which is using improper fractions, is look at 2.5, and I want to rewrite that just as an improper fraction. So 2 wholes is actually decomposes into 1 and 1 with an extra half. And 1 whole is the same thing as 2 halves. So I have 2 halves, another 2 halves, and an extra half, which means altogether I have 5 halves. So when I rewrite this multiplication problem, I can say this is 5 halves times 1/4. So now I'm just going to multiply all the way across. So 5 times 1 is just 5, and all the way across the denominators, and 2 times 4 is 8. So I get 5/8. So guys, again, you can use either strategy. You can multiply them without having to go improper using the area model. Or if you find it easier to go improper first, then you can just multiply them straight across. All right, thanks.